presenter. We're waiting to arrive, but I'm hoping she will arrive in time. Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome for coming to our 1 o'clock session on documentation. This is our second session on museum documentation today. On our panel today, we have GEORGIOS PAPAIOANNOU. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Next, we will have CHILALA HABEENZU, KAIE GEESER, and online joining us is MANOLIS Valgeri. So we'll go ahead, GEORGIOS, you can take us away.
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me. And yeah, so well, good afternoon here in Mexico to all participants, and well, I don't know, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. I'm Professor GEORGIOS PAPAIOANNOU from the Ionian University in Corfu in Greece, and with my collaborators ELENI, MANOLIS, ELEFTHERIOS, and KONSTANTINOS, we are honored to participate in this conference organized by the CIDOC committee. Congratulations to the organizers, and thank you in advance for listening. Our contribution is entitled Representing, Documenting, and Modeling Epigraphic Data via CIDOC CRM and its extensions. And we aim to represent epigraphic and archaeological information by applying CIDOC CRM and its extension CRM text. We want to offer a model to represent surface and supporting material of the inscriptions, the text of inscriptions, and the symbols and other features on the inscriptions, as well as interpretation material related to archaeological evidence and other interpretation. Also to explore issues on the application of classes and properties in representing epigraphical heritage. And well, as kind of standard in CIDOC CRM, we aim to create an automated system for archaeological and epigraphical heritage. A few words on epigraphy. The science of epigraphy has greatly contributed to the study and understanding of the world through inscriptions, as inscriptions are a tool for shaping a society. And in antiquity, the subject of epigraphy relates to texts, all texts of the antiquity, apart from manuscript codices, regardless of the material of the carrier and the mode of writing. And epigraphy studies relate to dealing with texts written in alphabetic and non-alphabetic scripts, including hieroglyphics and linear B. The words epigraphy and inscriptions, they come from the Greek verb epigraphin and the Latin verb scribere, both denoting the process of writing on a surface. Inscriptions differ from other writing products, according to Panchera, as inscriptions are unidirectional in the sense that they do not anticipate that a response will be provided to the sender. Inscriptions address a collectivity, not a particular person or a group, and therefore suitable location and suitable writing techniques are essential towards an inscription to achieve its goal. And when we use the term inscription, we refer both to the text and the supporting surface and material. Now, until the 1930s, scholars would publish texts from inscriptions using different conventions to denote the condition of the text and other things. It was in 1931, with the Leiden Conventions, that we have the first standard of recording an inscription, a set of rules, symbols, and brackets in which, well, we would indicate the condition of an epigraphic and a papyrological text in a modern edition. And at the beginning of the 21st century, epigraphy went digital, with EPIDOC offering guidelines and tools for encoding inscriptions and papyri in XML. And later, the CIDOC CRM ontology appeared to facilitate the integration, mediation, and exchange of heterogeneous cultural heritage information and other information, not only at the encoding level, but also at a more complex level, that of semantics. We have particularly used the CRM text extension of the CIDOC CRM ontology, which has been developed since 2018 to support the study of ancient and written documents and their text. CRM text addresses the needs of text disciplines, including epigraphy, papyrology, paleography, and codicology. And for our work, we have used the latest versions of CIDOC CRM, That was in 2022, and the latest version of CRM text a few months ago in June 2023. So for our study, we modeled more than 500 funerary Greek inscriptions of the 4th to the 6th century AD from Gore Safi in modern Jordan. And the value of the inscriptions is very important as they highlight the history of the region at the time. In terms of content, we see in these inscriptions Greek, Nabatean, Arabic, and Latin names, Christian expressions and symbols, types of dating, and indications of the age of the deceased. And through these inscriptions, the national identity of the period, the Proto-Byzantine population in the region is formed. So in a typical funerary inscription, we would see Greek personal names, Christian expressions and symbols, and the dating formulae. And here is an example of one inscription that we have published. Is an inscription of Parthenios, who died at the age of 70 years old on that date, which translates to the 10th of November, 431 AD. So we used 400 of these inscriptions to create the model that I will be presenting now. And well, here it is, the first slide of the model. On the left top, on the kind of blue background, you can see how we have modeled the physical characteristics of the inscription. In, let's say, pinkish, orangish part, it's the symbols and features, and on the right, the green part is the text. So, starting with the blue part, a funerary inscription is an archaeological object, and it can be represented as an instance of E22 human-made object class. For its production, E12 production, a type of stone, E55 type, is 57 material. Its shape is denoted with E26 physical feature class, its condition with E3 condition state class, its dimensions with E54 dimension class, and we have used E58 measurement unit and E16 number to model the measures, the values of the dimensions. Now, the kind of may bear symbols, and these are the E25 human-made features on that class. Symbols may be painted in various colors. That's the E52 type, and the different colors to the E62 string. And these features can vary, can carry symbolic objects, E90 symbolic object that they have symbolic content. E90 symbolic object and E62 string for the content. Moving to the green part, the inscription for the deceased, TX1 written text, was created by the activity of writing, TX2 writing, using a specific technique, E29 design or procedure, for example, engraved technique, and may have various styles, TX10 style associated to the general appearance of the script. The written text of the inscription, TX1 written text, is included within a specific area, that's the TX4 writing field. The writing field has a certain condition. It can be chipped or flaked, and we model that through E3 condition state class. Now, the written text of the inscription, TX1, is encoded using a writing system, that's TX3 writing system, top right, the second one, that's the TX3 writing system, that encodes a language, E56 language. Each writing system used in an inscription employs a script. Now, a script consists of functional complete sets of mutually different graphemes employed by one or more languages, regardless of the specific operating rules in a particular language. Note that graphemes are depicted by glyphs, TX9 glyph, and if we want to render a single occurrence of a grapheme, we use TX11 grapheme occurrence. Whereas if we want to refer to a specific sequence of graphemes, we use TX12 grapheme sequence class. For example, the symbol M is a glyph, the content M is the grapheme, and if we have 6 glyphs together, MEXICO, Mexico, that's a grapheme sequence. And to give you an example of our funerary inscription, and well, you can see here the blue part, our funerary inscription of sandstone, rectangular shape. Its condition was broken, carved, chipped, and flaked, and its dimensions are what you see here in meters, the way that archaeologists and epigraphers wanted them. In terms of symbols, there's a cross on the inscription. It's a cross symbol in red color, and that cross symbol indicates Christianity, interpretation from archaeologists and epigraphers. And now in terms of the written text, TX1 written text is the inscription of Parthenios. On that we read, well, what is there in Greek. That translates to monument of Parthenios. It was produced by the writing of the inscription, engraved, on a writing field, which was flaked and smoothed. And the style of the written text has letters of different sizes, full quality, and other things under TX10 style. And moving to the top right, the writing system was the Greek alphabet in Greek, and the script related to graphemes and glyphs of Greek letters in graphing occurrences and sequences. Now, well, moving to the second slide of the model, the classes that you see shaded are also in the previous slide, and these are the connection, let's say, classes from for the two slides in the model. Here we tried to deal with interpretation from what we see on the inscription, location, chronology, and the content of the text. So again, well, starting from the left, in the center, we see our funerary inscription, E22 human-made object, which is a monument that is through E55 type, that was created through, well, E12 production. That's the class we use to indicate creation. At some point of time, E52 time span, for the burial of the deceased person. That's an E5 event, and the person is the E21 person. The event of burial, E5, usually takes place, E53 place, in the place of the origin of the deceased. And the death of the person, E69 death, that ends before the start of the burials event, has a time span. That's the E52 time span. And to indicate this time span, we have used the E41 appellation class, which is a casual construct, and different dating systems have been used by different people and times. We have two here, the dating system on the inscriptions from, and then from the era of province of Arabia, and then different appellations to have the same time span in the Gregorian calendar that we use, or the Islamic calendar, depending on what we aim to show. Moving to the center, for the person, E21 person. So the person was born, E67 birth, by a mother and a father. This is both through E21 person. The person's birth, E67 birth, took place in a specific place, E53 place, at a specific time, E52 time span. And extra information about the person, such as the person's profession, the person's profession, that we have it a lot of times, we model it through E55 type. We do not have a date of birth on a funerary stone, but we have an age and a date of death, and the date of death. So, well, we do the maths, and that's how we get the date of birth. Now, again, moving to the left, our funerary inscription is an archaeological object which may have an identifier depending on the collection where it belongs. That's E42 identifier of a collection, E78 curated holding, and that collection, or a museum or an archaeological storage room, is at a place, E53 place. Also, a funerary inscription as an archaeological find or a museum object can be representing via a visual item, a photograph, into a document at the bottom and left, and that document is usually a book. We use E53 document and that document has a title, E35 title. This document is created by a process of creation, E65 creation, and that creation is carried by actors who have specific roles, E55 type, in our case, the role of authors. Also, this creation has taken place, the publication of the book, for example, at a specific place and at some point of time. Again, E53 place and E52 time. Now, moving to the right part of the model, the text, TX1 written text of the inscription has been read by the process of reading, TX14 reading at the bottom. And again, this reading was carried out by actors, E53 actors in specific roles, E55 type, and the roles can be epigraphers or archaeologists, not authors like in the book before. Now, the process of reading consists of text recognition. It's TX5 text recognition in between the classes of TX1 and written text and the class of reading TX14. So this recognition happened in three ways, and these are the three properties. One way is the TXP10 property, deciphered text, which indicates that we recognize the text by looking at the inscription in front of us, or via the TXP14 property, used copy of representation, if we recognize the text by a picture of it, a digital picture or a physical picture. Now, if we don't have the text, the monument in front of us, and we do not have a picture of the monument, but to read it, we used another way, let's say an infrasound and an ultrasound picture, so another visual item. In that case, we use the TXP13 deciphered by the representation property, and we need an E36 visual item class to connect them. Furthermore, scholars who carry out the text recognition represent graphing sequences, that's the TX12 graphing sequences of the text. We discussed that in the previous slide. Now, the recognition process resulted in a transliteration, letter by letter, in a piece of paper. That's the TX6 transliteration that led us to the graphing sequences, the scripts, and the language. And also from the transliteration, we have a linguistic object, which is the text in ancient Greek in our case. And we could also have other linguistic objects, the translations to other languages. That's the E33 linguistic object classes. And the example here, our Parthenios funerary stone that related to the death of Parthenios in Zura in 431 AD, according to our calendar, 326 at the calendar of the time. That's the top part of the slide. We don't know the name of his mother or father, but we may find it out in other inscriptions, so we have the class over there. The left part, this inscription has this identifier, Z241, and it is in a private collection in Italy, and it was published in Athens in 2005 as part of a book with that title and these authors. And the text of the inscription has been transliterated and translated and produced a linguistic object in ancient Greek and in English. So, well, we use CIDOC CRM and its extension to create this model and to model epigraphic heritage information, funerary inscriptions in our case. We have used a number of funerary inscriptions from Jordan to do it. We emphasized on representations of supporting material and their characteristics, the text of the inscription and other information. We aim towards creating an automated system for this. We aim to work on other inscription sets also. In our resources here, you can see that in 2012, we had the final publication of the inscriptions, and we started our modeling work about 3 years ago in 2020 that resulted in these publications. Thank you for your patience, and do not hesitate to contact us if you are interested in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Georgios. Any questions? probably all absorbing that. Yes.
Yeah, that was a very detailed presentation. I just wondered whether we could bring it back a bit and say the reason that you're doing it in CIDOC CRM and what you hope will be the outcomes in terms of the wider community.
Yep, we have chosen CIDOC CRM because it relates to cultural heritage in general. And since inscriptions are part of an archaeological record as well as an ethnographic record, we wanted the team working on the project to have the same system for everything, so that they can relate archaeological data, ethnographic data, other interpretations, oral histories as part of the same system. And CIDOC CRM nowadays is the system that can help towards modeling cultural heritage in general, and this is why we have chosen it.
But are there sort of other people out there working in the same area that you want? Because CIDOC CRM is about interoperability and about being able to join data. Are there objectives there with other people and partners and collaborations?
Yes, yes, that's actually another reason. Archaeologists use the CRM Archeo a lot towards modeling their data. We have people that they have tried to model inscriptions from different parts of the world, including Mexico and the States, and they have used CIDOC CRM also. So this work adds to a bigger group of work on inscriptions. We take it from the antiquity, but similar inscriptions we have nowadays. One of our next steps is, for example, to see how that can be applied to tunes as they are today. So yes, there are other groups working on the same direction, and we'll see where we are going to go. There's also a conference specifically on epigraphy inscriptions. That's in Chicago in January, and we'll be part of it too. And this is where one can find the community working on inscriptions specifically. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is probably a whole nother presentation, but has this data started to become analyzed, and any questions being applied to the modeling of all these particular texts?
Yes, well, the difficult part was to get the interpretations and ideas of archaeologists and epigraphers, what they want to say and how they want to say, and to make it sure that we can say these things through CIDOC CRM. Questions that arise are how we can, to talk in CIDOC CRM terms, how we can avoid using the E55 type a lot. Because this is the class that we use if we cannot use any other class. And we expect that in the future, through this work, we will deal with gaps that now we use E55 class to deal with it. The profession, for example, we try to find out how we can make sure that we depict the profession in the CIDOC CRM. We couldn't find something else, so we used E55. And as CIDOC CRM produces more and more versions in different aspects, CRM Geo, CRM Text, CRM Archeo, a new set of classes come up, and there's a discussion among them how we can use them in the best way. Plus, this continuous discussion with archaeologists and epigraphers and ethnographers who want something useful. Yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question, but
yes, I think so.
He's a member of group profession.
Sorry?
He's a member of.
Oh, okay.
So for your profession, they could be a member of a group, and the group is a profession.
Yeah. Yes, it's a member of the group, but the thing is, the profession we have, for example, for Parthenios, well, it was kind of a profession in that specific inscription on not really a profession. It was not, for example, an architect that we could say it belonged to a group, and that group is architects, so he's a member of a group of architects. It was a profession such as what was it exactly? The bearer of wheat of farmers, something like that. So it was difficult to assign it to a group. And also when we tried that, archaeologists were not sure that we had a group of that profession at the time. So it wouldn't be accurate to give the impression that this Parthenios is part of the group. So yes, this is the kind of discussion we have. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Georgios. Unfortunately, CHILALA will not be joining us today, so surprise, KAIE, you're up.
Do you need this?
Yes, this. But where I can find this?
Yeah, we will have some help. Yes. I think,
Somebody can help.
Yes.
yes. I think they go. I think first you need to stop sharing. Because, yeah, so. Sorry.
But we have to open her presentation.
Oh, no. Now we have to share the next one.
See,
I have to open it first. It's easy to open.
I think.
Let me share.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Let me open
It's on screen.
Yeah, it's Madam Control. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, I am KAIE. I'm from Estonia, and I'm very glad to be here. And I and Christian, who is a co-author of this presentation, but at the moment he is in Estonia. And we would like thanks organizing committee that keep this possibility to make this presentation. This presentation on the topic of how museum collection evolve is based on my practical experience. I have been working in museum field 13 years. This is the time when when the working with collection has totally changed. I started work with paper-based documentation, and now is 100% digitalization. My main interest is museum object information, how to collect it, document it, and share it. Okay, and share it. And main question, who makes a decision? What kind of object, that means information, we preserve in the future? I want to change slide.
Try.
Yeah. The space bar maybe?
This. Sorry.
Oh, maybe we lost it.
I don't know.
Okay. I think we lost.
I need the next slide. And again,
It's connecting. Maybe we lost connection or something.
I don't know.
This one.
And then I must press this. No.
Yeah, that's. Okay.
This, yes. But where? No.
Okay, that. And we can forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And my last and main question was, how makes the decision? What kind of the object, that's mean information, we preserve in future? The typical creation of cultural heritage is following. The museum worker makes choices and systematizes, builds groups based on certain criteria, thus providing a basis for further research. They complete information and description. It is tradition. And the collection has changed due to technology and digitalization. We have developed the necessary skills to work with new tools. But have we also embraced the freedom that the modern documentation environment actually enables? We are stuck in these boundaries, which act as limitations that obey cultural, institutional, and academic positions that we must constantly question and overcome to let go our privileged position to knowledge. Behaving in this way requires crossing inside boundaries. It is time to change attitudes and actively support for the involvement of people outside the museum in the process of heritage creation. Yes, we have admitted that incompetence can cause harm. Educating the public in this area, as I see it, could be a responsibility of museum professionals. The process of cultural heritage creation should be more broad-based and should not rely solely on memory institutions. There are various ways to educate general public. I would like to present an online manual collections. It is an environment where you can ask questions and get answers. The idea for this handbook emerged out of the necessity to consolidate and enrich the existing knowledge concerning museum collection management and to make it available in modern format. The end result was an interactive knowledge sharing and collecting environment open not only to museum staff, but to anyone with an interest in cultural heritage. The tone is informative and consultative, written by user to another user. The structure is similar to the whole assembled from Lego blocks, allowing for easy construction and deconstruction. The use of web-based solution facilitates continuous updates, keeping the presented material relevant. The content of the handbook is a result of collaborative effort. The authors of the concept are 6 museum professionals from different museums who complete the initial text material. This person initiated the establishment of the Association of Curator Collection under the umbrella of the Estonian Museum Association. At collaborative seminars, they discussed museum operational processes and exchanged their practical experience. This is the view that the reader of the collection management handbook will see. At the moment, topic 2 is open, accessioning into the collection. And on the left, you can see technical specification of the environment. This is overview of the structure of the handbook environment. The public website is assembled through the use of structure, text, formatting, and styles. Additionally, the public site includes the question quizzes. Each structural element can have separate sections: activities, risks and problems, practical examples, comments, links and references, and related processes. The related processes are then linked to another structural element. Practical examples and comments can be linked to files. The references are linked to primary sources. The same primary sources can be used for different entries. Multiple questions can be associated with one structural element. The structure of the content of the handbook builds on the work processes that are carried out with the collections. There are 8 topics: collection, acquisition, describing, digitization, storage and preservation, using, inventory, and the accessioning. They are all divided into subtopics. The number of subtopics that each topic is divided into depends on the activities required to carry it out. By opening the subtopic content, you can get overview of all topics and their subtopics. For example, when you look at the slide, the topic number 5, storage, is divided into 6 subtopics, and the topic number 6, usage, is divided into 4 subtopics. Here, look at the column on the left in the slide. You can see the subtopics or structural elements of the topic of collection. Under the collecting topic, there are 8 of them. Each subtopic is then divided into 7 sections. The text of the handbook is divided into base text, including 5 sections, and to which only the admin user has the right to enter and modify the text. There are also open text sections marked in green on the slide, comments and examples of practice, to which all registered users in the system have the right to enter the text. Specific references are provided for each subtopic, linking the laws, regulations, supporting guidelines, and professional literature. They are annotated by practitioners and supplemented by references to specific page or chapter. This gives a person possibility to easily find the answer to their question. Theoretical discussion is supported by practical examples. Anyone who is logged in the system can share their experience. Here is some example from the open storage room. The question is, what is open storage room anyway? Yes, this is being discussed in Estonia at the moment. Examples of practice and comments serve as communication channels. Look at the scheme. These are the sections that are marked in green color. Within the comment section, you can ask questions and initiate discussion on subjects that interest you. Each comment is linked to a specific subtopic or structural element. Each subtopic can be associated with several different comments. Other users can add their own opinion to each comment using the reply button. There may be several replies to one comment provided by different users. Such warm or separate discussion, which can be followed in unified way, has hole in the system. Due to the extensive nature of the handbook, a separate section has been established for new entries. These entries can be accessed by clicking on them, which will open the latest discussions. Look at the left on the slide. This is the box for sending new information, ask questions, and initiate discussion. For this, you are logging in the environment. Fellow user will have opportunity to offer comments and responses. That's mean, so such interactive communication that of a movie is good opportunity for personal growth, supporting both end users and museum professionals. To get the right to communicate registration with the environment is necessary. However, this is an option not to reveal your name publicly, which means you can remain anonymous to other readers. However, a user possessing administrative rights has control over the new entries. The system will automatically log all commentators, including their names, timestamps, and web addresses. We need addresses because some questions need broader discussions and could form the foundation for wider discussion that will give the base to the Association of Curators of Collections seminar. We sometimes need to contact with this person who sent the question. I say that the strength of this environment, the movie, is that in this shared information space, both a museum worker and end users can communicate or express their thoughts, regardless of the personal level of education or professional position. It is self-development through reading, sharing thoughts and experience, and asking questions. This creative process through interactive communication and collaboration is coordinated by a steering group of the Association of Curators of Collections. This ensures that information shared remains accurate, truthful, and current. This web-based environment provides the possibility to easily introduce innovation. That means Movik evolves together with user and user evolves together with Movik. It is necessary due to the evolving nature of work related to cultural heritage. As a museum professional, we need to apply academic expertise to transcend and broaden the boundaries. By doing so, we can actively involve society in the process of heritage creation. To exchange the information within an academic environment that is accessible to everyone will ensure the broad-based development of the creation process of cultural heritage and guarantee its preservation even in cases where it is not yet under the protection of museum or any official institution. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And if you have some question, you can send email, or my email is a little bit wrong here, Gmail. And technical description, you can send email Christian Adrian. It is this person who is IT person in this system, like this technical solution.
Thank you. Thank you, Kai. Any questions? The man in the front.
Thank you. That's an interesting concept and a potentially a very good collaborative one. I just wondered, the technical question is the top level categories. You can actually suggest additions to those top level categories as well.
Technical question, yeah. Maybe I open.
So where I had collection and storage and whatever, can I add another?
Storage.
Can I add another category to that list?
Yes, of course. Yes, this is open. We can add new categories. This is not closed at the moment.
So they're just basic starting points.
Yeah, this is starting points, and this is the initial text material as we museum professional made.
So I think this is very interesting because so people can actually then start to put in wider categories that aren't normally in collection standards.
Maybe it is so that in Estonian we have a little bit different documentation practice, and of course this what I presentation is based on Estonian museum work processes.
Sure.
And of course there could be a little bit others in other countries, and this maybe this.
I definitely encourage people to add the categories they think should be there. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm curious, if I'm understanding correctly, this platform is meant to bridge a dialogue on understanding collections care between both the public and museum professionals, correct? Have you at Movik, how are you advertising this out to the public? Where have you started engaging the public with this yet?
I said so that we have also administrative users, and these administrative users see all these persons who make some comments and some answer, because the system automatically saved all these persons who registers in system, and so we can admin these possibility. And of course there is a lot of possibility when some comments is I don't know, very stupid or something else, but we at the moment we are not that kind of practice. We can also close these comments, but we don't want to close and delete anything.
Sorry, just to clarify my question, I'm not so much the administrative or editing side, but have you put signs on the metro? Are you putting advertising in newspapers? I'm just curious how you're getting the word out to the public and inviting them into the dialogue.
Yes, it is good question. How in this public this environment? This is we started 2018, and this environment is possible for the public only half years. And so we started to work with these that enjoy public in this. But anyway, I know that we have a lot of readers in this environment.
Okay.
And because maybe Estonia is a very small country, and our population is only 1.5 million. And we are 225 museums and lot of private museums who collect these objects. And I know that these private museums, people also, because the Estonian community is so small. And these people can also use this environment and ask questions. What they can do and what is good in this.
So it's still so new. You're still building the snowball.
But, of course, we started to work with this at the moment, how present this and how involve a lot of society in this. But anyway, we have only this idea that we have to open our background, our everyday work environment, the public also, because these help us document museum object. And most important is that we cannot collect all objects in museum or any institution or institutions. That means a lot of cultural object is anyway in somewhere in private.
Absolutely. Great.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, KAIE, for this. I have a question to clarify sort of the goal of the project and the impact or the effect that you hope to gain from this project. If I understand correctly, in MUSES, which is the national database system with the collections, there's also a possibility where individuals, not staff, can make comments to enrich, let's say, the contextual information of the collections and find errors and this kind of thing, content-based. But if I understand correctly, this new system is more to share the process of working, let's say, behind the scenes of the museum. So is the goal of this to also potentially exchange best practice among museums, including private, public, perhaps share best practice or skill development with students potentially?
Yes.
Or is it more a novel way to share behind the scenes with the general public? And then my question is following up on Adele's. What kind of general public do you have in mind? And what kind of engagement do you have in mind? And let's say if the platform is successful in 5 years, what do you hope it to do, or how would you know? What would you see?
This is correct. What to say that we have different system. It is just one system. MUSES is for documenting a museum object, but this is moving, and this is for sharing this experience how museum work. And what means general public? Of course, this general public is maybe a very good word in here. In Estonia, and I think that other countries also, is a lot of people who is hobby historical. That means they are not working in museums, but they want to involve in museum work also, and they collect something, and they are private collections. And we see that maybe it is very important that these private collections are also documented and preserved good way. And of course, we don't know. We cannot make exams or something that how the public understand all this. But we hope that maybe this works. This is Ida.
GEORGIOS.
Well, just to congratulate you because my questions have been already posed and answered. Thank you.
And you all can look inside this. When you put this, my last slide.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
This is there and this is open, all of you. And you can use this, translate it. This also works so that something is wrong, but not also is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, yes. Okay, Annalise joins us from online. Annalise, feel free to unmute yourself, and will you be sharing your screen?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I will share my PowerPoint just a moment. Let me see. Go, and then I shall start. Okay. I suppose you're seeing my presentation at the moment?
Yes. We see that and your notes.
Okay, you see that and my notes. Then I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to close this again, hold on. And I'm just going to do it another way. I think it should be working right now, right?
We still see you.
Okay, that's fine. And you don't see the presentation?
We do not see the presentation.
Well done. Technology, it's perfect, right? Even if it works. There you go. Better right now?
Yes, you're great. Yep.
Okay, there you go. Okay, I did lose my notes, so I will be presenting it without notes, but I'll think I'll know for more or less by head what I will be saying. Okay. Hi to you all. I do apologize for not being there. I really would have loved to be there, but due to circumstances, I'm stuck in Belgium, in the city of Antwerp, of which I will be telling you something about how we deal with heritage in this wonderful city of Antwerp. Okay, so there we go. Okay, I'll start with the end, actually. So this is, in the end, what we want. What you can see on the screen now is a very simple search website for a museum collection. Not as difficult, you would say, and there exist like 1 million of these collection websites online, I know. But still, we're quite struggling to get this for the total of the heritage of the city of Antwerp, and I'm going to explain you why. Oh, yes, there we go. So, first of all, for those who don't know the city of Antwerp, it's a quite large city, and that also means it's a very city with a quite grand history. And this history you can also see in the collections of the different heritage institutions of the city of Antwerp. We have literally everything. We have like ships, we have models of ships, we have photography, manuscripts, modern sculpture, let me see, archival units, we have musical instruments, ethnography, jewelry, musical instruments, folkloristic items, you name it, we probably have it somewhere in our collection. Now, to make things even more difficult, because in Belgium we don't do things the easy way, this is Belgium. Now, Belgium, when you're walking into a museum in Belgium, the museum can be owned by the state of Belgium. The museum can be owned by the domain of Flanders or Wallonia, which is a French-speaking part. It can be owned by the province, and it can be owned by the city. In the past, the museums in the city of Antwerp did belong to the province, the Flemish government, and the city of Antwerp. And it's actually in the last years that these museums started working together, which might sound very logical to you, but in Belgium, that's quite something. Now, what does that mean? This is the result. So, for the 12 heritage institutions which are working together, we have in total 9 management systems. Nine systems that handle our collections above 12 heritage institutions. That's just way too much, of course. Now, that's giving me a headache, actually already start quite from the start. The thing about this, that in contrast to, I think, a lot of other corporations in which heritage institutions work together, we have museums, we have libraries, and we have archives, and we do consider them equal. So we have one heritage library, which is really only just a heritage library, and they, for instance, in the collections there are papers which go back to the last century, but also 16th and 17th century manuscripts and so on. We have an archive that only holds an archival collection. And to make things even more difficult, all of our heritage institutions also hold libraries and archives, which for them are really important. So you can see how these collections are divided between these 12 institutions. Okay, so I got a headache. I started thinking really hard about 3 years ago how we should handle all of this, and we made some sort of digital ecosystem. This is a very broad scheme of it, but I think it more or less explains what we are doing. So fortunately, I got help from my colleagues from the IT department of the city of Antwerp. It's called D.POLITIS. And together we developed what we call the in-between item data hub. Actually, it's an aggregator. In this aggregator, in this data hub, we got the metadata from the collection management systems in the city of Antwerp. So this is the systems for the library, for the archives, for the museums, and then of course there are digital asset management systems. We map these data, and in the beginning we thought about using international standards like, for instance, Dublin Core, Mark 21, and so on, but we very quickly realized that that was just way too simple. They don't answer to the complexity that we have in our collection. So we started actually using CIDOC CRM and its extensions more or less about 3 years ago. You can also see here Oslo. Oslo is like a Flemish variant on CIDOC, which is being developed right now. So this is a general structure that we are developing right now. Data Hub is definitely the main point. It's a focal point. And we are using this. Well, now I have to say we will be using this because in the future, we will be building only websites and applications which get their information through APIs from the Data Hub. We want to get rid of these standalone websites, these collection standalone websites, which are being built on top of a content management system, or just using a content management system within the website itself, because a lot of times there's a lot of research being done for this website. It's put into the content management of the website. The website becomes naturally obsolete after a couple of years, and everything, all the content, all the research just disappears. So that's what we want to get rid of. Okay, now, what have you been doing? First step that we did was that we made CIDOC CRM pods for mostly the museum collection. Not all the metadata in the museum collection, mostly the most important and most used metadata within the system of Adlib and Adlib Excel. We have a data analyst, Michael Meersmans, who made the data mappings in CIDOC CRM. He's also has been working on that part-time for the last 3 years. And so he made the mappings, which you can see at the right end. And my role within this complex process was to cross-map the theoretical CIDOC CRM mappings to the users' fields in Adlib Excel. So that's what you can see at the left. So we literally defined this field in our museum content management system should be related to this CIDOC CRM part, you can say. Okay, so there we are. So far, so good, right? We have our museological items mapped in CIDOC CRM, and we get them into our data hub. Now, then we got a wake-up call, because then we started looking into our libraries, our archives, and even more especially in our born digital collections, which are like, I suppose, with a lot of you guys, they are growing anytime, so they are coming quite complex, actually. And then actually the moment that I got a little bit mad and angry at myself, because actually I'm an archaeologist. So as a lot of people are, as I understand, who are sitting there in Mexico. So I should know that an object should always be contextualized. An archaeological object is, by means of itself, it's silent. It only speaks about the people who made it, the people who used it, when you put it into relations with the other objects, to start with in the excavation. So context, relations, background is really important if you're talking about these objects, even in an archaeological way of view. But I was so focused on this CIDOC CRM mapping for our museological items that I forgot a little bit about the semantic web and the relations, and that we have to focus on the whole, on the background. So when I started looking into our very specialized libraries and archives, I got this wake-up call, and after being sulky for a couple of days, I started focusing on this. So this is a bit of a weird picture maybe, but I'm trying to say is that we are right now we are focusing on what we call the immaterial, conceptual, the intangible, which is very present, of course, in our libraries and in our archives. Libraries, archives, manuscripts, archival units, and so on, they are inherently related to context. They tell stories. A manuscript actually is made to tell a story to the public. It is, of course, important that we do record all the information of the material, but in the end, this is the focus of a lot of objects that we hold in our collections, the conceptual, which is really hard to grasp, of course. Then, luckily, within the CIDOC CRM ontology, there was the sorry, I think I pronounce this very badly. Luckily, by now it's called LRM. So we made extensively use of that to make mappings for all items in our libraries and in our archives. I do have to say that we got a lucky call by getting a new archival system. It's called Arches. It's open source. And we asked a company which is called Delving to help us out with it. And as it happens, part of Delving are, among others, Steven Stedt and George Puseker. So they helped us out with a little bit of these mappings on the archival units. So this is where we are at the moment. This is a print screen of a GitHub page that we have been developing. Now, as you can see, you already note that we have some sections. So you can already see it's quite complicated. We have library items, library publications, archives immaterial, archives material, and so on. So we modeled on this page all of our mappings. You can find them here. We use mermaids, as we call them, to get all these triples in a readable way to see the relations in between. So this is also where we stand right now. So again, so far so good, right? Now we have the museological, the library collections, and the archival collections, more or less in linked open data mappings, which tell about the relations and so on. But there's always a yet, of course. This is the yet. Now we encounter intangible heritage. Because in our collections of the heritage of Antwerp, there's, for instance, also the Red Star Line Museum. It tells about the immigrants going from Antwerp, mostly to New York, using the boats, ships, from the Red Star Line. But the museum does hold some objects, but mostly it tells stories from the descendants of these immigrants. Then again, there is a museum Vleeshuis. It's actually a museum for historical musical instruments, but it also invites contemporary instrument builders to make replicas of the ancient instruments. So the concept of craftsmanship comes into the picture here. And then, of course, there are the very, very numerous traditions in the Flemish part of Belgium, well, actually in the whole of Belgium, and especially in Antwerp. What you can see here, it's called the Reuzen of Borgerhout, the giants of Borgerhout. So this poses again for a question. So first of all, we don't have a database system to put the metadata that should be written down somewhere on all of these kind of traditions, craftsmanships, and stories. We have to note them down somewhere, and we don't have a right system. That's one. And secondly, we are at the moment developing also an LRM, CIDOC CLRM paths and mappings towards intangible heritage. We are not doing that alone, by the way. ICON Belgium and the workshop Intangible Heritage from Flanders are helping us with it. And we are cooperating with them. They will tell you about it, by the way, because they're present in Mexico and they have a presentation planned on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so this is to show how we are trying to get more or less these traditions, craftsmanships, and intangible heritage within the CIDOC CRM. We are not there yet, by no means. So, in conclusions, what we more or less have are these models for the material aspects of our collections. I think we're nearly there. We would really like to know if there are other institutions who are also trying to get these museum, library, archives, and digital assets collection into one shared CIDOC CRM or otherwise mappings, because we would really like to get in touch with them and share our experiences. So feedback is really, really welcome. Then, of course, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Now, the thing is that we normally would have a very nice front end to show you how it all works, which we call our basic search. But then you might have heard of it. The city of Antwerp was attacked by a giant cyber attack in December of last year. So everything was put on hold, including our basic search. We hope to get it online somewhere next year. Then what we're going to do concerning the intangible heritage is that we are going to describe some use cases, and we are going to put them versus the mappings in LRM CIDOC that we already have, while all the time focusing on these semantic relationships, on these stories, on the people who are behind the objects, the people who made the objects, the people who use the objects. We want to tell their stories. We do think that objects are important, but in the end, I do think as cultural institutions, it's people we are talking about. And that's what we also want to do in our metadata, and we want to put relations in between. So, as they say, we try to keep calm and we try to carry on. Now, that being said, Antwerp is beautiful, so please get in touch. This is our email addresses. You can find the link below to our GitHub page. And you're very welcome, of course, to just come to Antwerp and discuss with us how you are handling all these CIDOC CRM properties, classes, and so on, and how you think we could be going on in the future. And there we go.
Thank you, Annelies. Any questions? No. Okay. Thank you, Annelies, again so much for joining us online from Belgium. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the session today, for all of our panelists. we have about 10 minutes to get back to you. That we'll give back that we took away from our coffee break. So lunch, I believe, is upstairs, and our next sessions are at 4. So enjoy the break. Thank you.
And thank you, Adele, for everything. Thank you.
I really appreciated your laying out your whole message.